What's up, goblins? I'm Scully the Goblin, and this is part 2 to the very first part of a Minecraft update I want to see. Now, this is not an official update. I don't know if they're working on something like this. If they are, then I had no insider knowledge. I'm just letting that out now. Oh, go check out my other Let's Plays. Go check out my other videos. In some videos I talked about Mass Effect, and some I talked about Cyberpunk. Those ones were back when I was just getting used to this YouTube crap. Well, it's not crap, but you guys get what I mean. Trying to, like, basically, when I started out I had a bit of anxiety. But yeah, this is part 2, and without further ado, let's get right into part 2. So, last time I showed you basically some of the builders slash villagers, and I was hoping to actually change the name of the update that I named it in, like, part 1. That one was just stupid, and I was watching, I believe the guy's name was Game Fury's, like, channel on, like, some Minecraft Furies. It got me thinking, what if I named this Minecraft something else, because I was able to add in something into the little update. So I decided to rename this to, ooh, wait for it, The Rise of the Ancients. Now, if you go to, like, Game Fury's channel, go subscribe to him, by the way, and go check out his, like, videos. They're actually pretty good. There's, like, this little theory he has about there being, like, ancient builders who turned into Endermen. Sorry about that little spoiler, but go check it out. But anyways, let's get into this. So basically in this little part, I'm going to show you stuff I want to see added in, and in part 3, I'm going to get more into the animals I want to see added in. But let's focus on, like, the villager part of this aspect. Now, where we last left off, I ended with the pillagers, I believe, with the pillager outcasts and the reformed pillager. Go check out part 1 to learn more about those guys, but let's move on to this guy, the human outcast. Now, you might be wondering, what is the human outcast? Basically, I want to see humans in the game. And some who are like villagers who walk around like the players do, build, that sort of thing. And I want some of them to be like outcasts. Basically, they are aggressive, they basically go around in groups. Now, unlike the pillager outcasts, the human outcasts actually form together. And will actually attack the player and kill other like mobs and that get items, and they'll actually pick up the items. And once they're killed, they'll drop the items that they picked up. Next we have the human nomad. Now, human nomads are not like aggressive unless provoked. However, if you give a human nomad emeralds, they'll basically have a little like heart effect and then follow your character. Once you lead them to a certain spot, and if you give them some wood, they'll end up building a house and basically become a human villager, meaning that they settled in the area. Now, I cannot get this guy's name right to me, but this is the Evoker Outcast. Basically, if you watch part 1, you'll figure out what the Outcast is. It's basically he was outcast for being too violent and too like reckless. Then we have the Redeemed. I can't pronounce that word that correctly. Basically, if you watch part 1, you'll see that basically the reformed pillager is like reformed and joined the villager society again. They still have a bit of a green tint to their skin, and they still use crossbows and that. These guys will basically be able to be traded with, but they only trade axes and basically poison splash bottles, I guess. So splash potions. Then we have the something outcast. Basically, this guy is like aggressive like the rest. Then we have the redeemed like Evoker. I'm just guessing the word now. Sorry about this to like any hardcore Minecraft people out there. I'm really sorry if I'm getting the names wrong and that, or not saying them. Basically, these guys would be in villages. They are still able to use their magic. They'll trade in like different magical items. So they'll trade you lapis, enchantment tables, that sort of thing. And they'll actually attack zombies in that, just like the redeemed versions of these. Now we move on to the human builder. Now, human builders are basically, and you guys, I should explain this better. In this update, I want to see humans and regular villagers, including human villagers, which are basically combined with like humans and villagers who are able to build in that. Basically, the reason this update's called the Return of the Ancients is because ancient like society is coming back. starting with like the human builder. Now the human builder wanders around building structures and that. When he sees the player, he'll follow the player to their like spawn point, which could be a bed or where you just spawned in. And once it detects your spawn point, like your bed and that, they'll immediately start building in the area. Now, when builders start building, and basically other like humans, including human nomads, are attracted to the area and will start showing up. Some of them will claim beds, some of them won't. It's basically all depends on how many buildings and beds there are. Next we have the human villager. Now I mentioned this earlier, basically human combined with villager, except they're able to do stuff and that. Now you can trade with them like regular old villagers and regular old humans, but they take two different kinds of currency. Now I'll get to the currency in a moment. Next we have the human knight. Now the human knight, as the name implies, wears armor and carries a sword. They basically guard the village and guard like the civilians and that. They do sleep during the day, however. Well, half of them. The other half will actually like go out at night. Now, human villagers and regular human villagers actually have the ability to put on armor if you give it to them. Now, let's move over here to this chest. If you put a gold, and yes, I'm saying you can make a gold crown in the game. If you put a gold crown on a regular human, you'll get a human king or human queen. That brings me to this next part of the update. I want to actually see see different like gendered villagers. Like with these villagers, I'm okay with the regular models like staying the same, but I wouldn't mind the ability to tell which one's like a guy and which one's a girl. At least in my opinion, because I cannot like figure out, like sometimes I'll put name tags on them and most of them are just guy names, and I usually just put like women's names on like the animals I have as pets and that. But well, there was one villager I didn't do that for, but still. Next, shit, I hate it when it goes night. Next we have, give me a moment guys. Next we have, was it that guy? No, it wasn't. The Villager King and Villager Queen. Now, Villager King and Queens are basically villagers you put crowns on. However, here's another thing. If you put a diamond crown on a Villager King or Queen, you'll get a Villager Emperor or Villager Empress. Same with the humans in that. Now, when you put the crown on them, basically the area where the buildings are will expand, and not only that, they'll actually start building a wall around the village, including massive village gates, which I forgot to sadly build. Now, there was one other thing. Nope, that's not it. I wanted to see human witches in the game. Like, they'll spawn in the same places as like regular witches, but here's the thing. With human witches, you're actually able to trade with them. Basically potions and that, but if you attack them or take something from a chest in their huts or houses, they'll become aggressive and start throwing potions at you. Next, let's move on to the new mob I want to see added in. Basically a new like trading thing. And that is, where is it? Let's go with you first. The Goblin. Now, I know a lot of you will say, Skelly the Goblin, the Goblin. Okay, I get it. You wanted to see goblins in it. Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. But I don't want to just see like all aggressive goblins. I would like to see a mixture of aggressive and non-aggressive, including different like skin goblins, like basically found in different biomes. So I'll probably get into these guys in part 3, but here we have the Goblin Thief. The Goblin Thief, as the name implies, steals stuff from the player. When they hit the player, an item will go missing from their inventory. And they'll even loot chests in villages and steal crops. Next we have the Goblin Alchemist. Unlike the Goblin Thief, the Goblin Alchemist is a bit more friendly, unless you attack them. In which case they'll throw different types of poison and splash potions and slowness effects on you. You can trade with them for potions in that, unlike with the Goblin Thief that just steals everything. If you have nothing on you, then they won't attack you. If you have something on you that is like mineral or like object you can craft with, they'll take it. If you have dirt on you, they will just make a noise that is them being annoyed and walk away. Next we have the Goblin Warrior. Now the Goblin Warrior will attack you if you get too close. If you stay, let's say, this feet amount away from them, they'll stay friendly, but they'll pull out a sword, axe, or even a crossbow. Next we have the Goblin Merchant. Now unlike the other goblins, this goblin carries different types of goods. And unlike the regular traveling merchant, the villager one that teleports away like later on or like disappears or despawns, this one will linger around and always come back. And you can name tag them, basically allowing you to know which one is which. Now goblin merchants always sell different things, but here's the kicker. Goblin merchants are always surrounded by goblin warriors. And goblin warriors will stand still once they see you, but a goblin merchant will run right up to you. However, if you get a couple of feet away from the goblin warriors, and the goblin merchant gets to, let's say the goblin merchant was right there, the goblin warrior's there, or the goblin warrior would come like right to there, and goblin merchant right to here. If you move further back, the goblin merchant, if they get to like near this grass, they'll immediately run back to the goblin warrior. And they will have like sweat like coming off their faces, like a particle effect, I guess you can say, until they get back near the goblin warrior. Next we have the Goblin Pillager. It's basically a goblin that left its clan and joined the Pillagers. And its skin is gray, like Pillagers. However, you can see like green or even yellow tints through the gray, because their skin's not actually gray, they have paint on them. Now that brings me to, the Goblin Chief. Now, Goblin Chiefs are basically the leaders of the clans in that, or at least tribal goblins. And they don't usually leave certain areas. Next we have the Hobgoblin. Hobgoblins are goblins that take command of like smaller forces of warriors and goblin pillagers and will raid villages and that. Kind of like pillagers, however, they will usually attack at night. And hobgoblins can even become goblin chiefs once they get handed a crown. Now, there's another one over here. The Goblin Witch. Now, a Goblin Witch is usually found in a goblin-like tribe area, either in caves or in a fort or that was abandoned, that sort of thing. Now, Goblin Witches, you can trade with them, but here's the thing. They'll throw a splash potion of weakness and slowness effect on you, and then move close to you, to which then you can trade with them. When you start walking away from them, they will not follow you, unlike other witches who keep throwing potions at you. Now, let's move on to a goblin, let's say, tribal camp. Goblins hide in forest areas or caves or even mountain areas. Now, as you can see, this is my own version of a goblin-like tribe thing. Now, I think there should be, like, goblin golems made into, like, these things, but I'm not going to address the golems. Now, these are called goblin huts. Now, a unique feature of goblins would be that they have different banners, meaning different tribes, and they will carry these banners on certain members. Now, if a rival goblin tribe meets, they'll attack each other. However, if two rival goblin merchants meet, they'll immediately try to trade with each other instead of attack. Now, goblins will sleep in caves or even make their own little cave dens or even their own little huts. But here's something else goblins can do. Goblins can take over villages. And they'll even force like the villagers to like do farm work. Villagers, when they're taken over by a goblin like war chief or chief or that will immediately throw food to the goblins and will basically sleep on the ground outside or not sleep at all. But these are different like goblin huts and that. However, there is one important thing you should know about these, like a goblin den. Goblin dens will always have a hidden safe room, I guess, or a hidden vault. Now, in these vaults, you would find enchanted gear, emeralds, diamonds, gold, iron, basically other stuff as well, including silver. And that so far is what I got for the goblins so far, but this is a look at the thing I came up with. I figured they would use blue torches, but here's another thing. Goblins are scared of creepers and will actually run away from creepers. However, when a goblin sees a zombie, they'll attack a zombie on sight. Now, when you enter a village, like a goblin village or a tribe area, you have a chance of finding either a villager in a cage, or I said villager, right? Yeah, I did. Or a pillager. And there's usually 2 to 3 cages in a goblin village. Now, they use logs in a certain angle to basically build their, like, wall around their village. Now, let's get back over here. Now, let's move on to the animals real quick. I'm pretty certain I got all of them. All the mobs I wanted to talk about. Oh, let's move over to the animals. Now, there is a savanna biome, I believe. I think that's what it's called. And I don't really see a lot of, like, animals that would, like, attack you or that. So, I came up with an animal that could be added in, that could be tameable, but still attack you. And that is the cheetah. Now, obviously, I'm using an ocelot for, like, the thing because I can't, like, mod anything or that to make it look like the stuff I want it to look like. But yeah, in savanna biomes you would find a cheetah, but in desert and savanna biomes, or even regular biomes, you would find a fire ant hill, or a regular ant hill. I'm using a beehive as, like, an example, but you get what I mean. Next, let's move on to the mushroom. The mushroom's already in the game, but I would like to see across... I think the wolf managed to kill the sheep. Shit. I would like to see basically different type of mushroom creatures, like a pig room or even a... Did I just say pig room? Shit. But you guys get what I mean. Basically mushrooms on the pigs and the sheep. Next is the dire wolf. Now, the dire wolf, if you don't know, was a old wolf that went extinct that was big and fed on, like, well, giant mammals practically. I would like to see a dire wolf in the game. Now, dire wolves would kill sheep, but they would also kill cows as well. Now, dire wolves are able to be tamed the exact same way as, like, regular wolves with bones and that. However, you're also able to tame them with cooked beef, basically, so cow meat. And that's it for over here. Now let's move on to the really big thing I want to see in here. Or actually, we got one more thing in here. Sorry about that. Now let's move on to the new currency that would be added into Minecraft with, like, this little update. Now, mostly humans would accept this, but gold coins and silver coins. Now, for certain trade deals, you would have to use silver coins, emeralds, or gold coins. Now, the way you get gold coins is by crafting them, or selling to a merchant. And that's pretty much it. Goblins would also take gold coins and silver coins, but they prefer emeralds and diamonds and regular gold bars. Where's the sun? It's setting. Damn. Okay, let's move on to this quick. Next up is dragon eggs. Now you might be wondering, Scully, what are you talking about? Oh, the end has a dragon egg. I get that, but I want to see actual dragons. Now, I'm not talking about, like, giant dragons like in the end, but basically I want to see, like, a new mob that is like a dragon. Now, you might be thinking, but Scully, they will attack everything on sight. Well, yes and no. Oh, I believe the end dragon would do that. But not these dragons, and I'll get into it in a moment. Now, I like different mobs and that. I love the idea of mods that add different mobs. But basically, I want to see, like, different types of dragons in different biomes. And these different types of dragons have different personalities, basically. Now, dragons would build nests and lay up to about, let's say, 5 or 6 or even 2 eggs in a nest. Now, over time, the eggs will actually hatch. Now, you, the player, if you're able to get a hold of an egg, and mind you, the dragon egg won't teleport away like the end dragon does. That's basically, if you get a hold of a dragon egg, you would have to hatch it. Now, certain dragon eggs can hatch over time. Other ones need certain, well, elements, I guess. Basically, you would get, like, a baby dragon, you would have to feed it, it'll grow up, like, normally, like normal animals and that, and you can fly around on it. But let's move on to the different types of dragons I want to see. First up is the rock dragon, aka the mountain dragon. Basically, I want to see these on the extreme hill biomes or even those like rocky mountain biomes that are being added soon in that new update. Basically, these dragons are able to like have like a certain rock-like texture to them. Now they look like the Ender Dragon like heads because, well, that's what I'm using for them for now. But rock dragons would basically throw a rock at you, who has like a little special attack. They breathe fire and they do like, basically they'll do like a spin and hit like a rock towards you with a tail when they're on the ground. Now dragons will only become aggressive if you get too close to their nest, or if you attack them, or you get way too close to them. Now if you're in a house and a dragon lands next to your house and you're near the window, it won't get aggressive to you. Same for if you're like, let's say the dragon's right there and you're right here, like where that little plus mark is on my screen. And they won't get aggressive until you get close to them. But let's move on to the gold dragon. Now the gold dragon is a golden dragon. Now here's the difference between the rock dragon. Rock dragons make their nests out of, as you can guess it, rock and dirt. Gold dragons, however, make their nests out of actual gold. And they have basically golden skin. And their eggs are the same color as gold, and rock dragons' eggs are the same color as rock, aka cobblestone. Now gold dragons, if they see like a human NPC in armor, or even you in gold armor, or they'll immediately attack you for the armor. If you're not wearing gold armor, or not carrying gold, they won't care about you. To which moves us to the Iron Dragon. Now the Iron Dragon has more health than the Gold Dragon and the Rock Dragon. Now all these dragons' healths are different to the Ender Dragon, like the End Dragon. Now Iron Dragons will attack iron golems for the iron. They make their nests out of iron. Their eggs are practically like iron. If you break a dragon egg, basically you have to left click to pick up a dragon egg. If you right click and hit it enough, it'll break and you'll get like the materials it was made of. But it would basically be called like shell materials. Now, the same goes for the diamond dragon. It has stronger health, makes its nest out of diamonds and that. And sometimes they'll be in like these giant like spawned caves in the side of the cliffs or that, or mountains, or they'll even just have their nests on the ground or in trees. And same for the Emerald Dragon. Now the Emerald Dragon, will be a little bit tougher. Emerald Dragons always spawn near villages. Now, Emerald Dragons will actually attack villages from time to time and basically carry off. Emerald Dragons have this ability to actually carry people, basically. If you hand it, like, say you handed an emerald to a nomad, the nomad was following you back to your, like, village and that, and you got halfway near the village, an Emerald Dragon could fly down, pick up the villager, and drop them from a high enough feet, or just breathe fire on them, to which then they'll pick up the emeralds. Now, we move on to the Nether Dragon. Now, I have like a redstone block for basically this dragon. It's basically a red dragon. Now, the red dragon is immune to lava, and it has the ability to actually place lava when it lands. And you'll find them in the nether, basically. However, if you bring a nether dragon's egg into the overworld, you could put the egg on grass, and the grass will immediately die and catch fire. Now, let's move on to the Ice Dragon. Ice dragons are found in snow biomes and ice biomes. Now, they breathe ice, and their eggs are usually a snowy color or see-through color. Now, they basically breathe like a cold fire effect that basically lasts longer than the burning effect. Not only that, when they hit you, you go farther. Now, I know, like, this is a stretch, like, why would they add all this stuff in? And I think it would be, like, a cool update idea, slash, like, new game features in that. There'll be some items I'm going to introduce in part 3. But I want to show you guys one thing that the Rise of the Ancient update would offer. Now, basically human builders, some of them will actually build houses and live in these houses, as they'll even build farms and basically work on the farms, to which you'll have like cow farms and basically these houses. Now, I'm not saying the houses will look like this, but I'm thinking that some of them will. Now, some human builders in that will be found in basically swamp villages. Some of them will be found in human like cages made by some of the sorry, I had to clear my throat there for a second. And made by pillagers or even witches. And this is a witch cage for, well, this is like a goblin witch cage, I guess you can call it, where they keep prisoners. I'm lagging a bit. Now, I'm going to get around to here. This is an ancient structure. Now, I have banners out front because I wanted to make it into like a goblin-controlled ancient structure. This is basically a fort. Now, forts will spawn in certain areas and that, and there will even be castles that spawn in. Now, when you come across a fort, there's basically a 50-50 chance for there to be free mobs that would spawn in these ancient forts. Number 1, goblins. Number 2, pillagers. And number 3, humans. Now, when you find an ancient fort that's occupied by humans, you're able to basically repair the fort or build it into your own little castle and that. When it's goblins, if you walk into an ancient fort, there'll usually be traps. Now, humans are able to activate hoppers, basically, I think these are called, or dispensers, I can't remember. And they'll use them when they're full of arrows, and when a mob's in front of them that is hostile or aggressive, like a zombie or that. Now, when you enter a fort, you'll basically see this sort of situation. You'll see guard towers, or you'll see other stuff. I'm just going to show off what I got so far. Now, humans are able to use different weapons, and like swords, bows. Now, I imagine this being like owned by a goblin king, not just a goblin chief, like this fort right now. And these are basically goblin tunnels, a goblin enchanter. I'm not all add those into the next thing, but if like the place is like intact, you'll usually find like a fort or a main house for where like the fort leader would have been. You'll find like mine tunnels. Now, if pillagers are taking over like the fort, you wouldn't find pillagers down here. If goblins were, you would find goblins. And humans, you would find human miners or even villager miners. Now, I also added a bridge in because I thought it would look pretty nice. And I gotta say, it does. And these are just campfires. It's basically what I got so far for the bridge. Here's a market area. I should have made it look nicer. And more towers, more other stuff. Basically, that's an area you climb up in, towers, yada yada yada. There's only one entrance point, sadly. That is a goblin den in a cave area. Same over there. Now over here you have a stable area where they keep certain animals. And you have a farm, and you have a coop area. Then you have another goblin area. This stuff would not be in here if it was owned by humans or regular villagers. However, you would have a chance to find it empty and not occupied at all. But there would be one occupant, iron golems. Or ancient iron golems, as they would be called. Basically, they wander around the fort, or protecting it. Now, if you came here and there was pillagers, you would find iron golems in like cages or that. Same with goblins. And you basically find goblin golems. Or if it's still owned by humans, you would find humans and golems running around. You would also have a chance to find a human king, but you would have a very small chance, it's a very rare chance to find a human emperor. Or empress. But yeah, goblins. Oh wait, I should show you guys the one other thing I want to add in. basically ancient structures. I wanted to add them in. A friend of mine hopped on here a while back and helped me build this. He thought we were turned into a museum. I did the outer layer. I basically wanted to make a coliseum, I guess you could say, like an ancient like coliseum and that. I wanted to dig like a pit and that, but he decided to turn it into a museum. I still like the way it turned out, but I wouldn't mind seeing like an ancient like museum covered in vines. You go in there, some of the animals in that are still in there. Basically the builders were keeping track of like animals in that they studied. Basically this is what you got done. And in these buildings, you would have a chance to basically find, in like I think a 1 in 5 chance that you'll find like a secret lab that leads underground. Well, it's not very secret if it's like revealed. Now you would like find the staircase, head down it, and you would find another iron door, but other stuff. Now, obviously, we didn't finish this, but you would basically find like zombies and other like aggressive things underground on like above ground. You would find creepers, or basically you find different types of like mobs and that are aggressive in these like underground fortresses, including pillagers. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this part 2 of the update I want to see. Let me know what you guys think of it. Let me know what you guys would have rather see in this little part 2 of this update I want to see. Yeah, I did mention that I will mention the mobs and items next. Now the mobs would be just as animals, I mean, not like other mobs in that. But yeah, if you guys like the video, leave a like. If you want to suggest something for part 3 will be the last one of the Rise of the Ancients. And it's basically the ancient builders coming back. Watch Game Fury for more information on his little Fury that I think should be added into like the Minecraft game. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Please subscribe and check out my future Let's Plays and content. I'm going to be doing a Let's Play of Cyberpunk 2077. I really like this fort, actually. Well, it's not a fort, it's like a tribe, but yeah. Check out part 1 of this video where I talked about golems and the new types of villagers that would be in the game as well. I think these villagers should still be added in. And yeah, let me know what you guys think of the idea for more dragons in the overworld. And being able to have like dragons with you. I think it would be an interesting idea, especially for the direwolf idea, where it would be like a bigger wolf in that. And also the idea for like goblins and that. Now, obviously, a lot of people will say, Skelly, you just want goblins because you don't want to be the only goblin in Minecraft. Well, that's partially true, but I always thought if they added goblins in back before I had a channel, it would probably make the game a little bit more fun. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think in the comments, leave a like, go check out my old Let's Plays and my new ones that are coming out. I'm going to make more videos today. I plan on making a video about MHA. If you don't know what MHA is, type it into YouTube or Google and you'll be a little bit surprised. I'm going to hopefully be making it today. I'm not saying definitely. I have a friend who's coming over here to leave suggestions for me because I only have partial suggestions. And it's for like this little idea I had. And it's not like original idea. I saw some other people talk about it as well. But yeah, if you like the video, leave a like, share, subscribe. I said that already. Yeah, I'm wasting you guys' time now. But yeah, if you like the video, you guys already know what to do. Go check out my other content. I'm sorry I'm repeating myself. Oh, if I didn't have everything that I wanted to discuss on this written down. I'm basically just going with the flow. And yeah. To my fellow goblins out there, may your pockets be full of gold, may your loot be plentiful, and may you one day find yourself in the Minecraft world. Oh, this is Skelly the Goblin. I'm signing off. Goodbye.